there, everybody. Welcome back. AP Psychology. Woo! We're getting down there. We got today, tomorrow, and then it's a test, which is it's simply crazy. So today we're going to be reviewing Unit 8. We're looking at clinical psychology. So as always, you know the drill. We're going to quick connect back to our CED. So this document, again, is in that ultimate review packet. Link is in the description. This is part of that free preview, so don't worry. What I did is I just took that CED, took the topics, the learning targets, our examples. This is what College Board wants us to know. So these are the things that could come on the test from this unit. So we can see we have a variety of different things. We have our introduction to psychological disorders. Just continue. We're going to have a lot of different disorders in this unit. So a little bit of a bigger unit. If we're looking quick at the percentage breakdown, which we've been doing because it's always nice to see. I mean, see Unit 8, about 12 to 16%. So a decent chunk here for sure. Definitely, we might see a couple more questions on the test from this unit. So we want to make sure that we are paying attention to it. Yeah, we're going to be going over a bunch of stuff. Again, if you're not sure what this document is, this is the course exam description. There is a link to this in as well, the description of this video. This is what College Board is going to base the test on. So if we scroll down, these are all the different learning targets of things that we as good psychologists have to understand, because this is what they're going to be testing us on. So that's why we're connecting back. The Kahoot is going to be based off this. All of the stuff in my ultimate review packet, all the summary videos, it all connects back to this document because this is the test. Sweet. All righty. Hopefully people are doing well. I'm going to put the Kahoot up right now. Let's see, where are people from? So let me know where you're from. So we'll get up that Kahoot right now. Get that CD off. Trying to quick switch everything up. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to post it on Discord. I have too many tabs. Okay. Take that one off. Fixed. And move that. Perfect. Okay. Sorry, Discord people. I forgot to post it for you early, and it will just be easier to do it this way. So right here. Always got to make sure the nickname generator is on. All right. We got Maryland, baby. Earth. We have Nebraska, Texas, DC, SoCal, California, Texas, Sydney, Australia, Miami, Florida, Georgia. More Georgia than you expected. All right. Long Island. Woo. You are welcome. You're welcome. I hope that test went well for you. Yep. All the AP Human Geo people that took your test today, congrats. You're done. Hopefully it went well. North Korea, New Jersey, Minnesota, Atlanta, Louisiana, Chicago, Tennessee, Utah, Dallas, Texas, California, Florida, Miami, Florida, Dallas, Texas, Long Island, Buffalo, Miami, Mars. People from Moby, Kobe from Texas. We've seen Kobe a couple times. Wisconsin, New Jersey. All right, cool. We got people from all over. It is always cool seeing how many people are studying and reviewing, and I am glad people are doing well. I see the chat. It's still going. We got Saturn, Ukraine. We got Illinois, South Carolina, Texas. Awesome. So we're going to get started with Unit 8. So let's get started. I'll put that Kahoot code on the bottom. So if you didn't get in, no worries. You still can get in. So let's get that banner up. Once it comes up, I'm going to have to read it again. So first question seeks to understand if an individual is able to determine right from wrong. So our focus here, we can see that, is on moral incapacity. So what do we got? So 7670958. Cool. There we go. Kahoot code up on the bottom. Might make it a little easier for people. All right, let's quick talk about this one. So the McNaughton rule, this is a rule that is going to actually define insanity. It focuses on the cognitive state of the defendant. And the key thing here, and this is the important thing, it's at the time of committing the act. So it doesn't matter about later on. It's the time of when that act was committed. So whatever that crime or alleged crime happened, the cognitive state there, it has to be at that time. The American Law Institution test, this one is looking here. It questions essentially to see if an individual understands the consequences of their actions. It's also going to look to see if can they control their own volition. So That would be for that one. The morality defense we'll get to in a second. I kind of just made that one up, to be fair. So I just kind of made that one. But the insanity defense, this would be when an individual is going to claim that they can't be held responsible for their actions because of their mental state. So if someone is going to try and plead insanity in court, they would use that McNaught rule to see if they're able to actually use that. And this is definitely a legal thing. The insanity defense, it's definitely legal, not medical, but that would be just a legal thing. All right, let's see. What do we got for our leaderboard? Oops. The chat is going. Sorry. Yes. Yeah, a bunch of people fell. All right. Yeah, that one was the one I just made up. Okay, going on to our next thing here when we're looking. So this one too, that question came from 8.1. So when it's talking, one of the examples in the CED that it wanted you to know for 8.1 was the insanity defense. So that's how I connect into the McNaught rule, which is then what we use to actually determine insanity defense. So now you know. The one that was made up was moral defiance. Okay, let's talk about this one. So for here, when we're looking at these tools, wait. Why am I blinking? Okay. Yes. So remember, it's really important here that there's a standard. We're looking here at like the psychological disorders. It can be very easy to misdiagnose. So the whole point here of when we're focusing on these, both of these could connect. This honestly, I should have worded a little differently. So yes, the DSM definitely would. The ICD is the International Classification of Disease, so that's also used. So I should have kind of reworded this a little bit better there, but that ICD is International Classification of Disease. The DSM there, looking a lot at like the US and stuff. So that would be the difference there between those two. So both technically B and C would be right. All right, coming up, Blank thinks that psychological disorders happen through conditioning and environmental factors, and they'll impact an individual. What do we got here? Finally, something you know. Good. Good. Awesome. Yeah, majority of people got this one. This is good. So remember that social cultural approach, that's going to look at how a person's their gender, their nationality, their sex, ethnicity, race, these societal statuses, how they impact an individual's mental state. The humanistic approach, that is going to look at disorders that occur when an individual has an incongruent self-concept. So when there's some incongruency happening there internally. And then that cognitive approach focuses on an individual's their dysfunctional thoughts or beliefs, and then that causes the disorder. So that'd be the cognitive. And then here, this would be the behavior, as the question said. Cool. Let's go on to the next one. If you're asking about the summary videos, so I think that's what you're asking about. Where is it? Okay, I'll get that in just a second. So we'll just go on to the next question, and I will come back to you. All right, here we go. This approach thinks psychological disorders are the result of repressed and unconscious thoughts. So what do we have? We kind of talked about this one yesterday. What do we got? Two seconds left. Yes. And it is that psychodynamic approach. Yes. So remember, that used to be the psychoanalytic, then later psychodynamic. So this is those unconscious thoughts of the mind and how different influences happen. Remember too, for the biological, we haven't talked about that one yet. This is going to be when disorders would be the result of abnormalities that occur in an individual's nervous system or also the brain. So that would be like biological. Also, too, real quick, for those who are asking, if you're looking for the other like videos, so like this one's the unit 8 one. So what is this? 29 minutes. So this is 29 minutes. It goes over like all of unit 8. So here's all like the topics of the CD and like looking at the different components of it. It's all in the ultimate review packet. And then it comes with the study guide. It comes with an answer key of all the concepts, practice quizzes, and then even like quiz that then has like the correct answers and explanations. So unit 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are all in here. Also, too, if you're looking for practice tests, it does come in here with a practice exam. So you can kind of see a full test. So each of these is 100 questions, just like your actual psychology test. So it's all in here. Also, all of our Kahoots as well are in here. So if you're interested, by all means, check it out. If not, no big deal. No big deal at all. All right, let's go on to our next question. But yeah, those are where those other videos are. The goal is always to have as many things as possible for free on YouTube. The packet's really the only thing I charge for. I realize it does cost money, but that's then what helps me actually pay for the microphone and all of this stuff to be able to run these chats. So like this year, I had to actually upgrade the computer because the live streams last year crashed the whole thing. My computer died like 3 times during it. I had to keep rebooting it. All right. What do we got here? So when we're looking at, the majority of people got it. Cool. So we're going to go on to the next one. We do have, I guess, a couple different things here. Remember here with this study, let's just talk about the study. This study is when we have Rose and Ann and then kind of actually 7 others. They actually go undercover and they pretend to have a psychological disorder. So they all get admitted into an institution with these fake disorders. So they were faking it. What they were trying to see is what kind of happened. So they got admitted in, and then what they started to do is not show any new symptoms. And then eventually stop showing their old symptoms as well. They wanted to see what happened. What ultimately occurred is they weren't released. So one of the things that we started to see is actually the staff kind of continue to document different things that could continue to show they have this disorder. And what they noticed is like people weren't really looking at the individual. They weren't looking at the person as a person. They were focusing on the disorder. So what started to happen then is, well, we were kind of misdiagnosing people. So the focus here really what it shows is it's really important not only to correctly diagnose someone, but when we're doing different diagnoses and we're looking at different individuals, we have to remember that they are people. And we need to focus on the individual. You can't always just assume just because there's a label on someone that it's correct. So that was the big thing with this study. So I realized the majority of people got it, but this one had a lot of kind of division. So I just want to kind of quick go over that before we go on to our next one. So that's the Rose and Hand study. You forgot it existed? That's okay. That is all right. There was other things to it. Like, again, Kahoot, there's more complexity to that study. The Kahoot, again, and all this limits me. So this is kind of an overview of all this stuff. All righty. All right, up next, which disorder makes it really difficult to focus and makes them more prone to impulsivity? What do we got here? So we're looking here at disorders. There's a bunch in this unit. Some people from AP Hug saying that you cooked the exam. I am so glad you cooked the exam. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you did it. Thank you for the kind comments. All right. Yeah. And it's ADHD. That is perfect. Majority of people did get that. I'm trying to think. We'll come back to these other disorders if you want me to explain it. I have a lot of questions on these. So I don't want to I've been yelled at by chat before, not obviously as a jokingly way, but I always explain all the answers. And then also the next question is one. And I don't remember if the next question I had for this was it. Okay. So it's an OCD disorder. No explanation needed. There you go. All righty. So when we're looking here, autism, what do we have? Oops, sorry. I was reading the wrong thing. I was like half looking at chat and I looked over to the Kahoot. So which of the following is not an example of an OCD disorder? All righty. Let's quick talk about this one. One, anyone know what this disorder is? Can anyone describe it? I'll pin it on the screen. So agoraphobia, what do we got? I'll pin the answer on the screen. So let's see. What do people got? What do we have? Fear of public spaces, crowded spaces, public spaces. Yes. around being others, crowds, leaving your house. That could possibly come in here too. Yeah. So we have this irrational fear. So agoraphobia here, irrational fear of unfamiliar places, these public situations. So individuals generally, they're going to avoid crowds. They're going to avoid large gatherings and really enclosed places. Trichotillomania. Anyone know what that one is? Let's just make sure these are all making sense. So trichotillomania, what do we got? Bunch of people. What do we got? Pulling your hair. Here, up. Some people answers. There's the answers back up. Pulling hair. Okay. So we have stuff with hair. Yes. So this is when a person is going to constantly pull hair from like a particular part of their body. Especially this will increase if there is a lot of anxiety or tension. And generally then when you pull your hair, you get this wave of satisfaction. You're feeling better there. Body dysmorphic disorder. So this would be when an individual has persistent intrusive thoughts and essentially an imagined defect in their physical appearance. So it's not actually there, but they think it is. And then hoarding is that compulsion when a person collects a bunch of things that they don't really need, but they're not going to be able to get rid of it. So they're not going to be able to get rid of it. All right. Going on to the next thing. Trichotillomania. So some people are asking about the anxiety. Just if you're very anxious, so if you have increased anxiety or tension, that could then be an impact there. Oh, some people saying, oh, I didn't read it. All righty. What are the 3 big units of the exam? Let me quick get the CD right back up. All right, we have 4 seconds left. All right, cool. Majority of people did get this one. So we'll go on to the next one. It looks like people understand this one. So if people are all getting it, we'll go on to the next one. If people have questions, let me know, and we can kind of connect back. For our units. Oh, that's interesting. That is the wrong thing. My AP Human Geo one came up. I don't know how that happened. I was on psych. All right. So for which disorders here? Yes, and it would be bipolar. So real quick, I had a couple people asking about like units, especially as we get closer. It's more and more important, and it's a great question. I realize I kind of highlighted at the start, but it's more important to make sure that we're focusing on exactly what we need. So if you go to that CD or get in that ultimate review packet, there's that free thing in there. Here's your exam weight. So we can see unit 1's 10 to 14, unit 2, 8 to 10, unit 3, 6 to 8, 7 to 9, 13 to 17. This is a bigger one. You want to make sure you spend some time with unit 5, 7 to 9, 11 to 15. Spend some time with unit 7. We're on 8. Spend some time here, 12 to 16, and lastly, 8 to 10. So our biggest ones here are going to be 8, 7, and then also 5. So the percentages there, you can kind of see where a lot of questions are going to be pulled from. Cool. Let's go on to our next question here. What do we got? Any changes on the leaderboard? Snowy Leopard still in the lead. Way to go. Way to go. Tips for FRQs. A big thing, take your time. Just take your time. A lot of people, when they're taking FRQs, and even when you're doing the multiple choice, it's a time test, and so people panic. And it's completely understandable. Even if you're like, I'm not going to panic, you're heightened. You're a little bit more tense because it is a big exam. And so when we're in this state, generally we're going to speed read more, and it's just going to happen naturally, and we're going to also miss some of these little details. Like if you already got your test back from your teacher and you're going over the answers and you're like, why am I making these mistakes? I know this. Well, you're no longer stressed. You're thinking a little bit more clearly. So take your time. And the way to do that too is underline. You see a task verb, underline that task verb so you know exactly what you're supposed to answer. If you see a vocab term specifically stated, underline it so you don't miss it. Make sure you read the whole question. So the more you can use underlining, it kind of slows your brain down, and it makes sure you're reading everything in its entirety. Even though you're like, I'm stressed for time, slowing down a little bit will cause you to make less mistakes. And so you won't just sit on questions, reread the same thing over and over. Nice thing too, when you're underlining, it kind of shows you what you need to focus on. So that allows you then to kind of make sure that your answer connects back to what you underlined, kind of gives you that guidance there. All right. How does persistent depressive order differ from major depressive disorder? Let's talk about this one a little bit because we have majority of people got it, but we do have a little bit of some back and forth here. So we're really just looking at the severity of our symptoms. That's kind of the big key here, just to highlight, really. So that would be the thing of our lengths and our things there. So our symptoms are going to be less severe and last longer. That would be the main difference. Someone was asking about body dysmorphia. With that, this again, the obsessions with the appearance and associated compulsions. So it's been kind of reclassified in the DSM-5 under the category label obsessive compulsive and related disorders. Which question is the most common, or letter is the most common? Sorry, for multiple choice. I have no idea on that. If let's say you're running out of time and you're like, we only got 5 minutes left, and you're like, oh shoot, I'm not going to finish. I would definitely fill everything in. Never leave multiple choice blank, ever. Just pick one letter, whatever one you like, go straight down. Hopefully you'll get a couple points. Maybe that can help you get up to that kind of next range there. So I don't know though for exactly like the science behind it. It would be interesting maybe if you went through, there's only so many really released tests, so it would be hard to do. But if you went through it all to see what in general, like what's the statistical breakdown of how many times A was used, B, C, D, and all that, that can be interesting. Maybe one day I'll do that. I'm curious now. All right, cool. Majority of people did get this for schizophrenia. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, originally, some of those were a little bit harder. These, you guys are doing pretty good. These are doing pretty good. Please give you a letter. I don't know what letter. It's up to you. I'm going to give you a letter, and then it's going to be the wrong letter. I see people in the chat saying C. C is the one to do, according to chat. For the percent for like a 5, 4, 3, honestly, I would, if you felt like I had that clickbait video of like cooking the AP exam. I'm not sure if you watched it. It was great. It was top tier. That thumbnail, everything was great. And then I also had the other one of like the AP exam score leaked, and that was also great quality. Actually, that video, some people didn't like because it was a little clickbaity, but the message I thought was really, really good. The reason why I don't go into like the whole percentage of a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is right now we're studying, we're going over stuff. We need to focus on what we can control. We don't know what the exact percentage breakdown is going to be for 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1. Right now, what's important is that we're focusing on what questions we can get right, not what questions we're not going to. Let's keep focusing on studying and understanding the content to the best of our ability. Whatever happens on the test day happens. Whatever happens with the percentage breakdown happens. It's out of our control. So let's focus on what we can do. And what we can do is rock this exam. We can do great. We can study, we can review, we'll check that CD, we'll take a practice test and review. And so when test day comes, it won't matter what their little percentages are because you're all going to be at the top because we're studying and we're focusing on what matters. That's the important thing. Woo! All right, let's go on to our next thing here. So majority of people did get this. Any questions on this one? All right. Let's go on to the next thing. Alrighty. Oh, some people asking about, okay, before we go on, so some people are asking about averse conditioning here. So this is going to be when we're pairing that stimulus with an unpleasant response. So for the averse, pairing with that unpleasant response, that would be that one. The biomedical therapy, this is when we would use medication and those psychological treatments to actually treat the psychological disorders. So hopefully that helps with that. All right, next question coming up. Here we go. What would electroconvulsive therapy be used for? Electroconvulsive. What do we got? Zero seconds left. Cool. Majority of people to get yes. This is going to treat individuals with severe depression And this is going to be used again when people are resistant to other treatments. So it's not necessarily always going to be like the first approach. This is going to be when someone's resistant to other ones. We're looking for other possibilities and options there. So like someone with social anxiety or things like that, we wouldn't do this with. All right. Exam is on paper. Yeah, next year the exam won't be on paper. It'll be online. Whole new world. Crazy. All right, blank perspectives focus on changing a person's inner dialogue and getting a person to see the errors in their thinking. How many things are there? Is it 1, 2, 3, or is it 4? What do we got? All right, so we do have the cognitive. Yes, the cognitive. Remember here, humanistic is going to focus on learning how an individual can grow and actually take responsibilities for themselves. Social cultural, that one, a couple of people put it, not as many, but that one's going to focus on a person's culture, the environment, the impact of person's behavior, and those symptoms there. Then behavioralism focuses on treating the behaviors, but not the internal mental causes behind the condition. So they're focusing on just the behaviors there, not the internal things. Cool. Let's go on to our next question. Here we go. Question 15. What do we got? We have 12 seconds left on the clock. 4 seconds left. What do we have? All right. And it is Albert Ellis. Yes. So remember, Freud is going to focus on those free associations. So dream analysis, that would be something there. Skinner would use conditioning to change or shape an individual's behavior. And Joseph Wolpe, this one is going to be with exposure therapy. So that'd be exposure therapy. Cool. Let's go on to our next one. Here we go. Going on to our next one. So, which disorder is characterized by a person having a lack of consciousness, being impulsive, and lacking empathy towards others? What do we have? Some people are asking about CBT and REBT. They're both from forms of psychology that really focus on changing these unhelpful thoughts and behaviors. So they're very, very similar. There's a couple differences, maybe how they like approach the patterns of thinking, and then a little bit more of the flexibility. There's not a ton of differences there. Yes, it is antisocial personality disorder. So one thing to remember here with the narcissistic personality disorder, here you're going to have this like exaggerated sense of worth or talent. So someone might think that they have unlimited power. The schizotype personality disorder, here you're going to have some very similar oddities of thought and behavior to someone with schizophrenia, but it's not actually severe enough to be fully there. And then the borderline personality disorder, here we're going to see kind of these patterns of very unstable relationships, self-image and mood are definitely negatively impacted by a person with their like social functioning. And oftentimes they'll engage in a lot of self-damaging behavior. So that would be those other options there. So hopefully those make sense. All right. Great Falcon in the lead. Here we go. Coming up, next question. Which of the following disorders would not be a dissociative identity disorder? What do we got? All right. 2 seconds left. Yes. So when we're looking at this, remember, when we're talking here about the conversion disorder, this is when a person experiences these different symptoms that appear to be physical. So they appear to be physical, but they're actually psychological. So I was reading a thing, it was about like the Salem witch trials, and some people were wondering, it was this conversion disorder happening during that time with some of the different individuals there. Dissociative identity disorder, remember, this is a person has at least two identities. So at least two identities that are controlling the person's behavior at different times. So not at the same time, at different times. The other one, which was depersonalization disorder, this would be when you feel detached from your own mind and body. And dissociative amnesia here is when people are going to forget very kind of vital information and generally connected to like very traumatic or stressful things. So the person's kind of disconnecting there from it or forgetting it. Sorry. All right. Let's go on to our next question. Sorry, my voice is getting definitely better, but doing 8 or 9 days, or how many days we're on now straight of this in school, it's a lot. Do we need to know all of the names? Right now, like memorizing every single name and every single thing they do, I would focus more on understanding the concepts, how you can apply them, especially for FRQs. You want to understand the theories, the different studies and how they impact people. If we're looking at the disorders, like how different disorders would be approached by different psychological perspectives. So I'd focus more on that than just the individual people. We want to try and focus holistically on understanding not just like the base information that shallow process, just, okay, we have this individual's name, but what were they known for? What were the things happening? How did that impact the field of psychology? And how does that shape our understanding today? Because you'll see different scenarios on the AP exam, and you want to be able to connect to be like, oh, this would be a conversion disorder, or this is going to be this treatment, or this is operant conditioning. So yes, the individuals could be used in questions and they could definitely be on the exam, but it's more important to understand these concepts and how they connect into the actual world in which we live. Okay. Majority of people did get this one. That is good. I think we've talked about all of these, except for the dealization episode. So that's the only one we didn't talk about. This would be like when you feel the world around you is not real. So like a lot of people, when they first watch The Matrix, all of a sudden they're like, what if all of this is just a computer simulation? What if we're not actually in the real world? Like none of this is real. So that's the only one we hadn't talked about yet. Excuse me. All righty. Let's go on to our next thing here. Next question coming up. I see people now saying, I am not real. I'm actually an AI created robot. Facts. Not really. Or am I? We'll never know. Dun, dun, dun. All right, let's look at our answers here. Yes, it is binge eating there. So again, characterize these cycles. That would be the important thing to understand here. We have these cycles: uncontrolled eating. This would be this binge eating disorder. Bulimia and stuff would be then when we're actually going to throw up or we'd purge. Sorry, that would be the better way to put it. You read it as overheating. I apologize on that one. Yeah, a little different than overheating. Some people asking for FRQ predictions. I'll have to think about that one a little bit. AP Algo, they were asking about FRQ predictions. I generally don't do FRQ predictions. What I really should do is like a deep dive, look at all the past FRQs, try to then break down by unit and topic how many have appeared, and then the last time, and then you can kind of see maybe you could use that too. But no one really knows what they're going to be on. So it is fun to like project or like to think. I'll try to think about it a little bit, but I don't know. I don't even tell my students FRQ predictions. Generally, why I don't tell my own students my FRQ like thoughts is because then that's what they're going to focus on and study. They don't study everything. So if I don't like give one particular topic, then they make sure they keep studying all the stuff. So I'll get back to you on that. Maybe we'll go in tomorrow. Maybe. I can't guarantee that though. I don't know in there. All right. Is biomedical therapy? Yes. So When we are talking about this stuff, remember that client-centered method, that's going to be focused really on creating this positive and open environment where the client can just freely talk. No judgment. There's no judgment. The therapist isn't going to try to explain what things mean or tell the client what to think. It's meant to be very positive and open. Excuse me. Sorry. That electroconvulsive therapy, here is where we're going to use that electrical stimulation and that deep brain stimulation. So again, that's going to be for that like severe depression. And psychosurgery would be used to reduce seizures. So we're not going to use that a ton there as well. Cool. Let's look at our leaderboard. What do we got? There you go. People are helping out. Love it. People helping out in the chat. Chat is always hard for me to keep up with in psych and in AP hug. So it's always cool seeing when people are helping each other out and answering questions, things. Cool. Here we go. We have the bee in third place, the falcon in first place, and the lion in second. Congratulations. Woo! There we go. You actually did good on this one. Good. I am glad you did good on it. I'm glad you did well. So this one is Unit 8. Again, it is a little bit bigger of a percentage of the test. So you want to spend a little bit of time with it. Again, focus on that CED. So right now, we're really close to the end there. You want to make sure you're kind of looking through it. That's why I kind of broke it down to that document for you, because this is what the test is going to be based on. If certain things like don't connect at all to the CED, it shouldn't be on there. Yes, every once in a while, you're going to get a question maybe that you're like, what in the world is that on the test? Especially with all of the multiple choice questions that you guys have to answer. There's a lot. So the odds are you will see some you don't know. But you're not going to panic. You're going to be fine. Use process of elimination. You spend a little time on it, not a minute. They're like, if you need to a minute, but if you really truly don't know, you just go on to the next one there. So we'll talk a little bit more of that tomorrow. We'll be reviewing Unit 9, which I realized I didn't finish all the YouTube videos. So I'll make sure that we have a couple other things in that one. So this is a little bit longer, and we can make sure that Unit 9 is kind of covered there. But that'll still be at 6 p.m. So we'll do it at 6 p.m. and go through. Then you guys will be able to get a good night's sleep. And then you'll have your test, and you're going to rock it, and you're going to get 5s, and it's going to be amazing and amazing, amazing. And you're all going to do good. So cool. Mr. Sinn, you're late. Okay. That's okay. You just got here. That's all right. From SL, I just saw this one. Wow, thank you very much. You didn't have to do that. You really didn't. But thank you very much. You said, thank you for these reviews. You're the GOAT. Aced Human Geography today, and please create A-Push content next year. I am so glad you create Aced Human Geo. So way to go on that. That's phenomenal. So A-Push, I don't know. A-Push is a beast. That's a beast of a class. Who knows? Yes, I will add this to the ultimate review packet. I'll get that in there. I will also get Unit 8 up too. So I'll get that up for you right now too. Cool. All right. I'm going to head out because I need to keep resting. The more I'm resting, it's actually helping there. But tomorrow we will be doing our wonderful Unit 9, and then it's the AP test. You've got this, everyone. You're going to do great. Remember that. Have a great day. And until next time, I'm Mr. Sinn, and I'll see you online.